we talk about the one and done rule all the time in college basketball, how it ruins the product of the game. But one of the counters to that argument is that if the one and done rule did exist in the 90s and the early 2000s, there's a graphic of about 5 players who probably would have dominated March Madness. And we say that a little bit too much based off their careers in the NBA while they were much rawer in their first season. So Bleacher Report, kudos to you. And they actually gave teams based on where they think they would have committed to.
Yeah.
You have to leave LeBron out of the equation, and I'll say why after. I think you already know. But Kobe on UNC to follow Jordan, Dwight Howard on UNC, KG on Maryland, and T-Mac on Kentucky. Here's why I say LeBron can't be there, really quick. LeBron was so good his first year out of college in the NBA and so game-changing as a senior in high school that I think the obvious answer is, yeah, LeBron would have dominated the tournament. He was this 5-tool player. So if you leave LeBron out of the equation, Kobe on UNC, Dwight Howard on UNC. You feeling little Tracy McGrady on the John Calipari Kentucky team?
Yeah, I think that, well, Tracy McGrady's a great fit to John Calipari's team because you just know that that's the type of player that he would thrive under, having in his squad a shooter like that. But in the same aspect, you got to think of college basketball, right? So say we're taking college from what we know as of recent. It's not changed as much from what I'm aware of. Like, shooters will often be given the chance to excel, right? Big men will do great. I think that Dwight Howard would dominate because of the size of the man, right? That's a huge thing.
That's a big guy.
But Kobe Bryant, I think, would dominate the tournament more so just because I have this recency bias to the NBA and how dominant shooters are, specifically when they're working in a system that allows them to thrive.
Today's tournament, too. That's interesting.
And I think that when you see, like last year, as we mentioned again, Buddy Hield going off and doing well to thrive that team, being a great shooter, and other players in the past being able to do so, I think Kobe, with the way his shot was perfected throughout high school, not completely, he still had to work on it in college, but he came in basically a made product. So you think he's going to take that into college basketball, where the man, his ability to find room for a shot was unmatched. His ability to be clutch at that age and clutch and not really feel the pressure at that age was almost unmatched. I think that he would be able to. It's not his high scoring game. Obviously the 3-point line is a lot closer. I think that would add up with the fact that his mid-range jumper in the NBA was second to none. So I think when you add up all those moving elements, just because I think shooters are able to excel just a little more in today's day and age in college basketball, I think Kobe would literally go off.
What's so interesting about what you said is that, hypothetically speaking, let's put it in today's tournament, because today's tournament is here. It's March Madness right now. If T-Mac was on Kentucky now, oh my God. If Kobe was on UNC right now, today, right now, oh, how fun would that be? It would be, by the way, he'd be number 33. It was before. He wasn't number 8 or number 24 until the NBA days. He was number 33 at Lower Merion High School. I'm sure he would have tried to keep that number at UNC.
Yeah.
And the point about the 3-point line is also very sound. Guys like Kobe took a little bit longer to develop his 3-point shot in the NBA, but it being closer, it's a lot closer in college. And that's the difference between inefficient 20.5-footer to an efficient 20.5 3-point footer. 20.5-footer for 3 points. If you gave Dwight Howard or Kevin Garnett any semblance of a decent point guard, I think that they would just wreck the entire tournament. And I say that because imagine, Anthony Davis when he was playing at Kentucky and they went on their run to in the tournament. Just imagine Kevin Garnett, who at that time was a more developed Anthony Davis, minus the handles, and had that mid-range shot. So as long as you have anybody who can just control the ball for 30 seconds in today's NCAA, 35 seconds in KG's if he played in the NCAA tournament during the time, I can imagine that those two guys, and as like you put it, just out of sheer size. So what do I have? We have some Dwight tape. We have some Dwight Howard tape from his high school days. It's tough to find some of these, by the way, in any kind of decent quality. And I mean, it's the same thing we always show with Carl. It's a man amongst boys. So here's some Dwight Howard B-roll. We have no sound for it, so we can just run the tape over it. And you're gonna see, fortunately for Dwight Howard, he played recently enough, but he was one of the last to come out of high school. I mean, that's him, number 12, just in case you were wondering.
Look at the shoulders on that man at that age.
And again, a lot of people, like, I love to throw shade at Dwight Howard. I do, for how he's like, his personality, what he's like in the NBA, but he did carry the Magic pretty soon out of high school to the finals. That's a man, Basil.
That is a man.
And then we have tiny little bit of Kobe tape once we get through this one. And the Kobe tape is what you'd expect. You're looking at raw Kobe Bryant, and it's fun because the crazy thing though, and this is from the One Shining Moment documentary that they did on Kobe at Lower Merion. The thing about Kobe in high school is he was more of a playmaker than a shooter at the time, and and you can see him developing. He was more of a point guy. I mean, that's just vintage Kobe.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can't even.
You can't give him that room, man. They didn't know as much back then, but you just can't give them that room. But going back to the Dwight Howard point, I think that is the takeaway, what you mentioned, is that if you give Dwight Howard or Kevin Garnett a point guard and put them into a system that utilizes a big man the way they do, you're not going to stop them. I mean, you look at, Karl Anthony Towns was phenomenal. He still had that unbelievable shot for a man so big. He was able to shoot from outside range, and that's kind of the new wave of the big man we're talking about. But if you're putting Dwight Howard and Kevin Garnett,
Howard with handles,
Karl exactly.
Anthony Towns.
So if you're putting them into a team that utilizes a big man, there's no one, like even a senior in college, growing man, is not going to be able to compete with that, especially with that ability. So yeah, I would have loved to have seen them.
You know who could compete with that? He's not as big, but because he was like 32 in college, Don Maker.
Don Maker, good, well-matured man, mortgage, kids.
Yeah, he's seen a lot. He's experienced. That was like my favorite thing Bleacher Report's done this month. I like a lot of Bleacher. Some people don't like Bleacher Report. I like Bleacher Report. And they put together graphics like that are pretty smart. My only criticism, number 33 for Kobe. I don't think he would have been number 24. I think he would have been number 30.
I think they were just doing it just to catch the view.
Yeah.
People would be like, who the hell is number 33?
Oh, and I guess for a tiny more context, why they picked it, KG High School there, Kobe said he would have committed to UNC because of Michael Jordan. If he did, same with Dwight Howard. And I forgot who else. Oh, LeBron. I mean, obviously, he talks about Ohio State. I think he would have gone to Ohio State.
I mean, it's not like UNC would need much of a more recruitment tool, but just how easy is it then for you just walk in with a pair of Jordans and a picture and just be like.
It's so easy, man. And it's just there's like the Carolina way and
even in like these teams as well, it's just almost unfair. Like Kentucky as well is like John Calipari will just walk in and be like, want to go to the NBA?
You want to go top 10 in the NBA?
That's it.
Just come. All right, comment below, like, favorite, subscribe. Thank you for watching on the PLUTO TV. And make sure to check us out on YouTube, youtube.com/TYT Sports. You can subscribe to the channel if you're watching on PLUTO, and you can go to PLUTO if you're watching from YouTube, @Francis_Maxwell on Twitter, and @JasonRubin91. And we will see you next week.